Right now on News 3 this morning, Saturday, a downtown Madison staple is temporarily closed after a fire, when restaurant goers can expect the Old Fashioned to reopen. Plus, lawsuit stalled. The Milwaukee Bucks player who was the subject of a violent arrest by Milwaukee police in January has postponed filing a civil lawsuit against police for now. And should marijuana be legalized and regulated? It's a question that may be on the ballot this fall. We'll take a closer look.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
And good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is June 9th. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Chris Reese, and kind of a rainy Saturday out there, kind of a gloomy weekend the way it's looking.
Absolutely. You know, it was hard to wake up this morning. There was lots of rumbles of thunder for someone like me and a lot of folks out there. It just makes you want to sleep in. But for a lot of folks that have plans this Saturday, don't cancel those just yet. Some of that rain will move on out of here. It's moving out of here now. You see the showers that rumbled on through here earlier this morning. We'll get a nice break from that in the afternoon. Some heavy rain came with it, though. Flash flood warnings were issued, especially across the west throughout portions of Grant County to the west of Platteville. No heavy rain coming down there as of now. You do have one light shower for the moment, but the worst of the rain is now over portions of northern Illinois and moving towards the Chicago metro area. You see where the heavy rain really did fall, though. Over the past 12 hours, pretty much all of southern and southwestern Wisconsin has gotten in on some decent rainfall. And where those brighter colors are, well, that's where you have the flash flood warnings that were issued. As for now, most of the rain moves on out. We'll have some cloud cover this morning, but I think we'll see some peaks of sunshine as well. Temperatures starting out in the lower 60s, but as we go through the rest of the morning, temperatures will warm through the 70s. Some showers this afternoon will top out right around 77 degrees here in Madison. Here's the first look at your first alert traffic for the day. It's Saturday, school's out. So far, things are moving fairly well across town. You have a couple of general slowdowns, especially near those construction zones, but across Dane County as a whole, things are looking good if you are going to be out and about early. From Verona to the Beltline, that'll take you about 5 minutes. Same from Oregon to the Beltline, coming in at 8 minutes. Pretty much everywhere running smoothly as of now.
All right, Chris, thanks so much.
No problem.
One of Madison's most well-known restaurants is temporarily closed this weekend after a Friday fire. News 3 was on the scene when first responders arrived at the Old Fashioned on the square. The smoke could be seen billowing from the building around 4. Crews evacuated the building. Fire Chief Stephen Davis says most of the smoke was coming from the back of the building, and crews put the fire out quickly.
Both the Old Fashioned restaurant and Harvest restaurant suffered quite a bit of smoke damage because it was a real slow-moving, smoldering fire in an attic space.
The Old Fashioned says a grill hood caught fire, but everyone is okay. According to the restaurant's Facebook page, they will find out more today, but will be closed until Tuesday at this point. The Milwaukee Bucks player who was the subject of a violent arrest by Milwaukee police in January has postponed filing a civil lawsuit against the force for now. The filing was set for Friday, but has been postponed until next week. Police body camera footage shows officers tackling and tasing Sterling Brown over an alleged parking violation. Brown was not charged with any crime, which prompted an internal affairs investigation. The Milwaukee police chief apologized for the incident and said an undisclosed number of officers would face disciplinary action. New this morning, the State Department of Health Services is raising its concern about vegetable trays purchased from Quick Trips across Minnesota and Wisconsin. DHS has been investigating a rise in cyclospora infections and found 11 people in Wisconsin and 3 in Minnesota had purchased the Del Monte vegetable trays before getting sick. Quick Trip says it has volunteered to take the vegetable trays off store shelves. A rough start to the weekend on the roads with a handful of crashes Friday in Dane County, resulting in at least 3 deaths. Right now, the lanes on Highway 19 in the town of Westport are back open. This was as close as we were allowed to the scene. 3 people died in the head-on crash around 10:30 Friday morning.
A eastbound vehicle had been observed prior to the crash driving recklessly and passing other eastbound vehicles on the right shoulder, the gravel shoulder of the roadway. Just prior to the crash, the at-fault driver appeared to have lost control and struck another vehicle that was westbound in a head-on fashion.
Lanes reopened around 5 hours later. The driver of the at-fault car and a passenger in the other vehicle, a minivan, were pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of the minivan died at the hospital. And on Highway 14, lanes were closed for a few hours after another head-on crash. It happened near the intersection of 14 and Highway 138. 4 people were taken to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. All lanes have since reopened as well. The driver accused of killing a Madison man and injuring his wife in a crash on Midvale Boulevard is facing 6 new charges after court documents indicate he had controlled substances in his system. 19-year-old Benjamin Cortez was driving more than 100 miles per hour before he hit a couple walking their dog on April 27th. An amended criminal complaint filed in Dane County says Cortez's blood test came back indicating he had THC and benzoylecgonine, a cocaine metabolite, in his system at the time of the crash. The school year has just come to an end for many Madison area schools, but some parents are already looking ahead to changing start times. Those times for some Madison elementary schools will move earlier, and middle school start times will move later starting in 2019. Parents involved have been advocating for the change since 2016. They argue middle schoolers require more sleep.
A lot of people don't think it's important enough. A lot of people say, well, when I was a kid, I walked uphill both ways, but why?
The first changes for start times would happen in the 2019 school year, so not right away this fall. Developing this morning, the Rock County District Attorney's Office is now reviewing a case after 5 students were fed brownies laced with over-the-counter supplement in what's being called as an end-of-the-year prank. DA's office will determine if they will press charges. Clinton police said 3 Clinton High School seniors bought Zyrexin, which is advertised as a sexual enhancer, and baked it into a batch of brownies. 5 other students ate them, 2 got sick. Janesville parents will be at the city council meeting on Monday, urging the city to implement an ordinance against bullying. 2 moms started a petition for the ordinance to penalize bullying. They modeled their proposal off similar ordinances in Monona and Shawano. Both moms say their kids have been bullied, and after a Janesville 6th grader's recent suicide, they want bullying to be taken seriously.
It's important to me because I think bullying has been an issue for a very long time, and I believe it's getting worse and worse, and it's not being taken care of.
The 2 moms met with their other parents in Janesville Friday to answer questions about the petition and get more people involved in their cause. Dane County residents could be asked about regulating marijuana on their ballots this fall. An advisory referendum was introduced this week to add the question to the midterm election ballots. The board supervisor who introduced the referendum says the tax revenue collected after legalizing marijuana would help pay for roads and schools and help stop a pattern of racial bias in the justice system.
And if we look at the racial disparities issues we have, specifically in Wisconsin and in Dane County, there's some of the worst in the nation. And this is a common sense measure where we can help address those issues while also addressing a lot of the budgetary issues that we have as well.
Officials say Milwaukee and Rock County are pursuing similar referendums. To be clear, this referendum would just gauge public opinion on the subject. The legislature would need to pass a bill to make marijuana legal. The Elver Park Farmers Market kicks off its 2nd year this weekend, and organizers are hoping to increase access to healthy food for thousands of people in Southwest Madison neighborhood and around the city. This year, the market is expecting nearly a dozen exhibits and vendors selling a variety of seasonally available fruits, vegetables, and meat. People who use SNAP, Quest, or Food Share vouchers will be eligible for double dollars, meaning for every dollar they spend, they will be able to purchase $2 worth of qualifying market purchases. The market opens at 8 o'clock this morning and runs until noon every Saturday through September 29th. Well, time now is coming up on 5:10 this morning. It's another warm weekend here in Madison, but is rain sticking around in the forecast? Chris is in next with the weekend planner as we take a live look over the Capitol on this rainy Saturday morning. Plus, Will Loper is previewing the return of Jodie Foster to movie theaters this weekend as a no-nonsense high-tech healer who's dealing with a French assassin, an arms dealer, and an injured cop. Get the popcorn ready. This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. Lots of water on the patio this morning after storms came through last night. Quite a noisy night, but now a lot of those storms moving on out of here. We'll get a break in the action. Here's a live look downtown right now. You can see just how dreary things actually look right now. There will be more in the way of some showers and thunderstorms as we go throughout the day. Temperatures are in the lower 60s right now. Humidity at 93%. When the dew point and temperature come closer together, that's when you get that higher relative humidity. That's also because a lot of the moisture is left over from those thunderstorms that came on through. Temperatures really in the 60s for a lot of us. You go back to the south and west, temperatures are a little bit warmer. Lone Rock at 63 right now. Prairie du Chien coming in at 64 degrees. Here's Doppler track. You see the storms moving on out of here to the south. You had one little shower that came through portions of Dane County that's leaving Dane County right now, headed towards Rock County, and it continues to fall apart as it moves on through. Over the past 6 hours, you really see how those thunderstorms rolled in from the west and then quickly made their way to the south and east. One of the other things you'll notice is they made it a lot farther east this morning as opposed to the rains that came through yesterday. That's because that same lake breeze that we have, we're not fighting it as much as we had to yesterday, but nonetheless, the lake breeze is still there. Several complexes of showers and thunderstorms across the Midwest, one approaching Omaha, Nebraska right now as it falls apart. But as these thunderstorm complexes essentially build up and fall apart, they pave the way for more to come on through. So the next wave of low pressure moving in tonight, that'll likely bring another complex of showers and thunderstorms pretty similar to what we experienced overnight. That could arrive this evening, and then once that moves on through, we should see some sunshine moving in to end Sunday and start the next work week. Let's take you through the rest of the day. Temperatures in the 60s. They'll warm up into the upper 70s later on, and if we can get enough sunshine, we'll reach the upper 70s during the afternoon. The next round moves in, especially after dinner time across the west. That'll last through overnight, and then we'll see a lot of those showers and thunderstorms kind of wane as we go into Sunday. No big need to worry about severe weather, but there is at least a slight chance of some severe weather, especially across the south and west. It's known as a marginal risk, so we will want to keep a close eye on that. 59 to 73 this morning, variably cloudy and mild. A chance of thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Over the next 10 days, we'll watch our temperatures begin to make it into the 80s for your temperatures, along with several additional chances for some showers and thunderstorms coming in Tuesday through Wednesday of next week. Notice by Friday we return to the upper 80s.
Lots of rain chances in there, Chris.
That's right, Josh. Several rain chances. No major washouts just yet, but at least a chance for a splash. Several of those through the next 10 days.
All right, thanks so much.
No problem.
Well, women top line the latest films to hit the box office, and a star-studded group is expected to rake in millions.
$16.5 million in each of your bank accounts 5 weeks from now.
That's a lot.
Ocean's 8 flips the script on the popular heist flick series with Sandra Bullock leading an all-female team in a plot to rob the Met Gala in New York. Analysts expect to get away with $35 to $40 million, taking the weekend title from Solo, A Star Wars Story.
It's gonna take care of me.
You don't think I'm gonna take care of you?
But when you die.
Women also top-line the weekend's other two wide releases. Toni Collette stars in the horror flick Hereditary, about a family discovering dark secrets in its past. And Jodie Foster leads an all-star cast in Hotel Artemis, a secret emergency room for criminals. Our film critic Will Loper has a preview of both films tracking to debut with about $6 to $8 million this weekend.
It's heartening to see so many strange new faces here today. I know my mom would be very touched and probably a little suspicious. My mother was a very secretive and private woman.
Toni Collette stars in a movie where a family begins to learn disturbing secrets about its ancestry.
It's Grandma. You know you were her favorite, right? Even when you were a little baby, she wouldn't let me feed you because she needed to feed you.
Hereditary is rated R.
Maybe we finish the toy after the quiz.
Now verify your memberships, and we're off to the races. The Artemis is a secret hospital for criminals.
I thought you were done with all this.
I got out, but you know how it goes.
I thought this place was a myth.
We've been here for 22 years. This hospital was built on two things: trust and rules.
The year is 2028. A hospital that only treats criminals finds itself at war with a brutal Malibu mobster.
He's here.
Open the gate.
That's against the rules.
Rules? Without the rule breakers, honey, where would you be?
Hotel Artemis is rated R.
You see that badge? That means I'm a healthcare professional.
And besides heading to theaters, there's plenty to do around town this weekend. Coming up next, we're turning from movies to music. And that's local music act The Family Business rocking the stage. They're this week's featured act in our Morning Notes series. Next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Lots of the showers and thunderstorms that moved through earlier this morning now to our south. So if you have plans to be outdoors this morning, it'll be a little damp, but no needs to worry about canceling those. Things should all be good. Here's a live look at the Edgewater sky cam right now looking downtown. You see the cloud cover, temperatures in the 60s. They'll stay that way through the morning. By noontime, we should reach the lower 70s, upper 70s for those highs this afternoon, and then more in the way of showers and thunderstorms joining the picture later on. Over the next 7 days, expect temperatures to gradually warm into the lower 80s. Rain chances Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Additional rain chances Thursday and Friday. And then next Saturday, Sunday, and Monday will stay in the 80s with some weekend rain chances then as well. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. 5:22 this morning, and our Morning Notes segment continues our focus on local music. And this week, we're featuring the Family Business at their most recent show at the Comeback Inn. This local band has been together for more than 13 years, and you're sure to love their rock and roll sound.
Rock and roll, so we do rock, blues, a little bit of country, but just like to call it rock and roll.
How we got the name The Family Business was we're all trying to just come up with names. Garrett, the bass player, and Derek, the drummer, their dads were in bands together for a good chunk of their lives, and so the whole rock and roll blues thing has kind of been passed down through the families in that way.
When you told me those 3 little words, oh, but
it is kind of a thing that to a certain extent runs in the families. And we kind of look at the people that come to the shows. There's just a big, huge group of friends that's kind of stuck together for a really long time, so it's become like a family, so the word fits, I guess.
Yeah, I breathed and I smoked, never worried how it might endanger me.
Eric and Garrett and I went to high school together in Monroe and started it when we were about 16, and then met Derek, the drummer. Senior year of high school, he lived in New Glarus. I think we started playing out when we were 18, 19 years old, stuck together ever since.
We all, I guess, kind of brought our own influences, but we all kind of had the classic rock blues thing in common.
Personally, AC/DC is a big one with Bon Scott, AC/DC, and Zeppelin and all the great classic rock bands. The farthest we've been is Austin, Texas. We did South by Southwest there. A lot of shows in Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois and Minnesota.
You can kick me out at midnight, and in the morning I'll come back to bother.
But we'd definitely like to start taking trips out to Colorado and, anywhere they'll have us.
Hey, let's hear it one time loud for the Comeback Inn for letting us come here.
And thanks to photojournalist Christopher Hawbaker and producer Matt Clark for putting that together. You can catch the Family Business at the show in Darlington tonight. They will be at the 46th Annual Beowulf Motorcycle Club's Canoe Festival at the Lafayette County Fairgrounds. There's much more news ahead on News 3 This Morning Saturday. Next, we're running through this morning's top stories, including the lane closures that could impact your drive to this morning's farmers market. Plus, celebrating culture inside the classroom and out. How Muslims here in the Midwest are balancing the last week of school with the holy month of Ramadan. Right now, Uber wants to know when you've had a few too many drinks, and it's turning to artificial intelligence for answers. The ride-sharing giant's new method of identifying drunk passengers.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday. It is June 9th. I'm Josh Spreiter. We're going to check on your weekend weather with Chris in just a couple minutes, but first let's get you caught up on today's headlines. The Old Fashioned on the Square will be closed until Tuesday after a Friday afternoon fire caused it to temporarily close. Heavy smoke could be seen billowing from the building around 4 in the afternoon. Fire crews arrived and the building was evacuated. Fire Chief Stephen Davis says most of the smoke was coming from the back of the building and crews put it out quickly. No one was hurt, and the restaurant says they will find out more about what happened later today. We'll bring you that update tonight on News 3 at 6 and 10. The first weekend of beach season is off to a rocky start, and it's only just begun. The beach at Olin Park on Lake Monona won't open today because of a blue-green algae bloom. Madison Parks officials were hoping to open all of the city's beaches Friday for the first time this summer, but the algae is making those plans impossible over on Lake Mendota, too. Beaches stretching from the Memorial Union to Middleton are impacted by the potentially toxic algae, which is spread due to rainy, hot weather. If you're heading downtown for this morning's farmers market, lanes are closed at the West Wash and Proudfit Street intersection. Crews are replacing concrete there. The project started yesterday morning and should last through Monday morning at 7. The lanes will reopen for work week traffic, but will start up again next weekend. The city says that project will take the next 4 or 5 weekends to complete, so keep that in mind for your future plans. And now meteorologist Chris Reese is here with your first alert forecast. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Josh. Had lots of showers and thunderstorms this morning. Those now working their way to the south and east of here. You look back to the west and to the north and west. A lot of that shower activity really begins to calm down at that point. We do have one flash flood warning that's still in effect across portions of western Grant County. Some very heavy rain came down with these showers earlier today, but now those are really moving out of here. You see a couple of the higher concentrations of rainfall estimates over the past 12 hours. Grant County is one of those, but everywhere you see one of those concentrations, that's essentially where we've actually had or still have a flash flood warning in play over the past 12 hours. But as you look back to the west, not only did the clouds begin to thin up, meaning that there will be at least some sunshine, you see another complex of showers and thunderstorms already starting to fall apart across portions of Nebraska and the Dakotas. That will come into play for our weather later on today, so hold on to that. 61 degrees right now in Madison, upper 50s as you work your way to the Northwoods. Superior at 45, La Crosse at 67. Back to the south and west, temperatures are at least a little bit warmer. We're going to warm into the 70s as we go throughout the rest of your day, along with the clouds and the chances for some showers and thunderstorms. 77 is about where we will top out. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. New this morning, Uber wants to know when you've had a few too many drinks, and it's turning to artificial intelligence for answers. The ride-sharing giant has published a patent application to identify drunk passengers. It describes an algorithm that will weigh a variety of factors like typos, how precisely a user clicks, walking speed, and the time of day. For example, a rider clumsily typing at 1 a.m. on a Saturday would likely be considered not sober. Uber plans to use that technology to better tailor its rides, either by warning drivers or matching them with drivers with relevant experience or training. Right now, Facebook is facing another privacy problem. 14 million users around the world had their default sharing settings sent to the public. The bug affected a new post from May 18th to May 22nd. Facebook says the glitch occurred during the testing of a new feature. After its discovery, Facebook went back and changed the setting for all posts by those users during that time frame to private. Affected users are only now getting a notification on the app or website. Facebook says the notification signals a new proactive, transparent approach to problems moving forward. Muslims across the globe are observing the holy month of Ramadan, including those still in school. So how do Midwestern classrooms handle students who fast during the holiday? Reg Chapman reports.
During the month of Ramadan, things inside Al-Amal School in Fridley are a little different than other months of the year.
We kind of shifted our schedule because there's no lunch period anymore.
Director of Islamic Studies Omar Ali says it is not required for children to fast during Ramadan. Although elementary students typically don't, middle and high school students petition their parents to participate.
I don't have to fast yet, but I just
It makes me feel happy to do it.
Mumina Mohammed is a 6th grader. She says Ramadan is more than just fasting from before sunrise to after sunset.
Ramadan is also a time where you develop your character, and you basically try to stop foul language or bad actions or watching lots of television, and develop things like patience and kindness and generosity. 9th grader Ikram Omar says fasting helps her empathize with the less fortunate.
The whole point of fasting is for the rich and the poor to be the same. So we kind of feel what the people in Syria or Somalia feel that do not have any food, that are starving the whole time.
Ali believes observing Ramadan helps students focus on what's important.
They tend to be more positive, more focused on their learning, more, nicer towards each other. So it really affects them towards the good.
For 10th grader Ayub Daoud, observing Ramadan is helping him become the best person he can be.
I want to become a nicer person, better person, want to help people out more. Just overall, it's just a month for self-improvement.
Reg Chapman, WCCO 4 News.
Muslim students in Minnesota say they are fasting, studying, praying, and giving back to the less fortunate for about 17 hours a day right now. Students say it helps them build a strong sense of community. Ramadan ends this Thursday, and for some, that's also their last day of school. Well, 5:35 this morning, teaching is a lot more than grading papers and writing lesson plans. The real-life lessons a local educator is sharing with his students. We're sharing the story of this month's top-notch teacher next when News 3 this morning, Saturday, continues.
Do you
A mild start this morning. Temperatures are in the 60s for most of southern and southwestern Wisconsin. You get over to Lone Rock, the temperature is 63. Boscobel and Prairie du Chien is 64. La Crosse coming in fairly warm at 67. We're at 61 degrees in Madison right now. Temperatures will continue to stay in the 60s until we get you towards 11 o'clock to lunchtime. That's when temperatures will finally break into the lower 70s. Clouds will also begin to increase a little bit ahead of another round of showers and thunderstorms that'll move through later on tonight. That should be around to after sunset. As far as traffic goes for this morning, so far, no real problem spots. Some general slowdowns in select locations, but for the most part, everyone moving along smoothly. If you're coming in from the outskirts of town or Janesville, do expect your drive times to take their normal times.
All right, Chris, coming up on 540 this morning, as any teacher will tell you, there's a lot more to helping students than planning out lessons and preparing them for tests. That can be particularly true for students who aren't sure if they'll graduate with their senior class, and that's where people like Nicholas Schmidt come in. Here's Charlotte DeLeste with this month's top-notch teacher.
So let's take a look through. If there was one thing I was never going to do, it was going to be a teacher.
But yet, here's Nicholas Schmidt at Memorial High School teaching.
I never saw myself working in a job like this and loving it so much.
Mr. Nick, as his students call him, is a credit recovery teacher.
I work with kids who are essentially, a lot of them are throwaways, and there's no way for them to graduate. There's no way for them to get their credit, and then they come in here and they work and they grind it out and they get it done.
But he's so much more than what you see here.
I'm teacher, guide, mentor, guidance counselor, social worker, sometimes step into the role of parent.
He's also a builder. He builds relationships with his students, making sure they know he's got their back.
My first name is Nicholas, and it means victory of the people, is what it means, and that's how I've always been. I've been about taking people who are disenfranchised and giving them an equal shot at things.
He's considered a career change. After all, he wears many other hats. He cuts hair at school and fixes cell phones for students he knows can't afford it.
I just decided for myself, like, I can't walk away from this. I want people who feel like they don't belong anywhere else to have a place where they belong. And not just where they belong, but where they can actually strive and they can succeed.
And the impact he's having on his students is simply undeniable.
Honestly, before Mr. Nick, I hadn't really had a teacher that made me believe in myself, that I could do it. And it was so refreshing to be in an environment with somebody who was in your corner.
Without him, I wouldn't be much. I'd just be a kid failing, and I don't like thinking about that, but knowing that that was my past and where I am now is such a great leap, and it's all because of him.
Nicholas Schmidt never imagined himself being a teacher, but because he is, kids are able to imagine a better life.
Just someone who's trying to live my life and change lives, as much as I can along the way.
Have a good day, everybody.
Very deserving there. As always, you can nominate your favorite top-notch teacher by heading to our website, channel3000.com. Well, 5:42 right now, looking for something to do this weekend. We have you covered. A little something for families, music fest goers, and musical theater buffs is happening around town. Your weekend at 6:08 is next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV.
A comfortable but dreary morning as you walk out the door right now. Temperatures mainly are in the 60s across town, some upper 50s right there, 61 here in Madison. You work your way back to the south and west, that's where temperatures are at least a little bit warmer. The east cooler, and that's usually how things shape up around here. Here's a live look downtown. You see a lot of the cloud cover out there. It's somewhat of a dreary look. Some of you may begin to worry if you have plans this morning. No need to cancel those. It'll be a little bit damp, but a lot of the heavy rain should hold off until we get you into the afternoon. The storms that came through last night now moving to the south and east, so they are no longer a big concern for us. However, there are still complexes of thunderstorms across the Midwest, and these are beginning to fall apart. Each one that falls apart sets the stage for more to develop later on tonight as we go through the rest of your afternoon and evening. We've essentially had a stalled out front across the Midwest for the past several days. Different waves of low pressure have ridden along that, bringing the shower and thunderstorm chances. The next one will spark showers and thunderstorms across southern Minnesota as we get you into the afternoon. That's 3:30. Here's what happens as we get you towards 9 o'clock. Those will begin to arrive, especially across south and west Wisconsin, and then work their way to the south and east, kind of like the storms that came through last night. It'll be a very similar setup as to then. So let's take you hour by hour throughout your day. Temperatures in the 60s will rise into the mid and upper 70s into the afternoon. Some peaks of sunshine moving in. The clouds move back in rather quickly. By 7 o'clock, the western edge of our viewing area getting in on some of those showers and thunderstorms. Those will move through overnight. By 11 o'clock, rains will be in Madison, and really towards Sunday morning, we'll see some light showers still kind of lingering, along with some cloud cover before we finally get in on some sunshine. None of that expected to be severe, but there is at least a marginal risk, especially to the south and west, of some severe storms, so do be aware of that. 59 to 73 this morning. As we get you into the afternoon, we'll watch our temperatures rise to about 77 degrees for those highs. The next 7 days, we're talking temperatures gradually warming towards 80 degrees. We do have a rain chance as well, especially Tuesday night and into Wednesday, an additional rain chance there on Thursday. The next 10 days show temperatures that will remain pretty much in the low to mid 80s. It'll be a bit more humid as well. And when you have the heat and humidity together like that, that's one of the main reasons that we'll continue to see some of those shower and thunderstorm chances.
We can barely shake those rain chances.
We can. It's going to be hard, but we'll see just how much rain we get.
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, we've been asking you to share your morning with us. Augie Augenstein posted this on Instagram. Look at the cat there out in the backyard, it looks like.
Having a good time. You know, cats just love to do their own thing.
I'm sure the cat probably doesn't like the rain, though.
I've yet to meet a cat that likes the water, I'll say that.
Well, thanks for sharing, Augie. What does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 This Morning. It's the weekend in the 608.
And here's a look at what's happening around town.
The sounds of summer fill the air at this weekend's Isthmus Jazz Festival, going on at a couple locations. Later this morning, take the kids to enjoy a jazz concert at the Children's Museum on the Square. And tonight, high school and college student groups will take the stage at the Memorial Union Terrace. It's been a busy few days for the fest. Organizers showed jazz films from the 1940s at the Sequoia Library Thursday, and jazz ensembles lined 4 blocks of State Street last night to entertain crowds.
Summer has arrived at the Madison's Children's Museum. From 10 to 4 today, check out Summer Palooza with the family. Live jazz music, a drum line, a circus, and a community parade around the Capitol will get everyone involved. Inside the museum, which is free for kids all day, you can sharpen your Lego skills or see a magic show.
And over on the east side, a celebration is going on both today and tomorrow. The Marquette Waterfront Festival takes over Yahara Park Place. Crews are setting up 2 stages for 19 local and touring bands. A Dandelion Dash for kids will take place later this morning, as well as a Fool's Flotilla for paddlers from Tenney Park to Yahara River tomorrow morning. Both canoers and kayakers are welcome.
The Frequency is throwing quite the birthday bash to celebrate 10 years of contributing to Madison's music scene, because at the end of June, the small music club just off the square closes its doors. Last night, it got the party started with progressive metal music. Tonight, hard rock, some rocking country, and then some pop punk will finish off the night. The fun starts at 7:30.
2 great options for musical theater this weekend. The Four Seasons Theater brings us to 1776 at the Wisconsin Union Theater. The show follows founding fathers John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson in Philadelphia as they declare independence from Great Britain. You can see it both tonight and tomorrow.
Over at the Bartell, Temps the Music, where a group of workers go up against their union-busting bosses and elected politicians. It plays the next 3 weekends and is part of the Bartell's 20th anniversary.
And as always, you can pick up a copy of this month's Madison magazine for all the best events happening in and around the Madison area. Well, there is a full hour of News 3 ahead coming up in our 8 o'clock hour, and tonight at 6 and 10, the local 5K honoring the men in uniform. But first, the cattle battle caught on camera inside the California bullfight. That's something you don't see every day. That's next on News 3 This Morning, Saturday. Coming up on 5:55 this morning, when people think of bullfights, most think of Spain, but there was a unique kind of cattle battle in California this week.
2 bulls fighting head-to-head in Fremont. Don Ford has the details.
Something you don't see every day.
Another day in Fremont. Yeah, every once in a while we have these days where,
The bulls run amok.
Bulls run amok.
Bulls in a neighborhood fighting in the middle of the street. How in the world did they get here? A local rancher who didn't want to go on camera says the pair were jousting and busted through this fence, easily snapping the chain.
They estimated these were about 2,000 pounds each.
These are big animals. These are not
really big. These are not little, these aren't goats. These aren't sheep. That's what we're usually dealing with. We have, goats and sheep that occasionally show up on a roadway or a corner. And so we're usually able to grab them pretty quickly and find their home.
But in this case?
In this case, it was much more challenging.
To say the least. Police closed roads while the pair chased each other down the street, and when a 2,000-pound bull runs across your carefully mowed yard, You get souvenir footprints, 8 inches wide, 6 inches deep. The owner showed up, and with the help of 7 officers, 2 animal control officers, the bulls were finally herded back up the hill onto their ranch land. Robert King's house butts up against the open space. He sees the cattle often.
We see them up on the hill all the time. They're in our backyard sometimes, right next to the fence, so it's really nice, actually.
The rancher is being fined $100 per animal for failure to control livestock and pay for the damages. Fremont police will be the first to tell you that no, they do not get calls like this very often, but are just glad that everything turned out safely. In Fremont, Don Ford, KPIX5.
How would you like to open up the front shade and see that in your front lawn?
Talk about home on the range. I think that's the best thing you can say there. Home on the range. Weather on the range. We are tracking some additional showers and storms that'll move through later on tonight. That'll be late this evening. If you have plans this morning, you don't necessarily have to cancel those. We'll take you hour by hour through the day. The clouds will try to thin out and show some peaks of sunshine throughout the day. That's when temperatures will spike into the mid and upper 70s. For your highs, as we get you towards 7 o'clock, you'll notice showers and thunderstorms moving in from the west once again. The south and west, that's the area to watch for the potential of some severe thunderstorms. It's just a marginal risk, so we're not expecting a widespread outbreak. But nonetheless, some showers and storms will move through overnight and follow pretty much the same path as they did last night. And then as we get you towards Sunday morning, lingering showers and clouds, temperatures will be in the 60s.
All right, Chris, thank you. We're back with an update in 30 minutes. CBS This Morning Saturday is next.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.